Hello and welcome to the podcast, the Trauma Resonance Resilience podcast. And I'm Lisa Cherry, your host. And I'm with you as part of the Brightness of Stars series, which, if you've been listening, you'll know is to do with the book that I wrote nearly 10 years ago now, that has had the most phenomenal additions and upgrades and exciting things added to it. It's been made much more contemporary with a lot of very contemporary themes. And part of this series, and it's out in May, and part of this series is about introducing you to some of the people who are taking part in the book. And you might be aware that there are the people who took part originally, and there are now several new chapters of people who have joined the Brightness family. So today it really is a wonderful thing that I'm going to introduce you to Isabelle.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm Isabelle. I don't really feel like I need to go, oh, I'm Isabelle, because you've already said the name. Yeah, I'm one of the youngest, I
You
think.
are, you are.
Yeah, I was 24 when I wrote my chapter, but I'm a newly 25-year-old. So yeah, exciting. I'm excited.
How does it feel to, I mean, I'm asking you this because I remember my 25th birthday so profoundly, because it was when I realized that I felt like some sort of adult, and that people might have to like listen to me now because I'm 25. Did you have that, or has it been a completely different experience?
Yeah, I've definitely had that. I've definitely had that. Yeah, I'm a 25-year-old. I no longer, I guess, come under that young people category anymore. Yeah, I definitely had that I'm a 25-year-old. I'm halfway to 50, as everybody reminded me on my birthday. Which isn't a bad thing. I quite like that. Closer to 50 than I am being born apparently now, which is a really bizarre thought. But yeah, I definitely had that moment of I'm an adult. Yeah.
Well, it's brilliant to have you as a newly formed adult and a waving goodbye to young person status. But yeah, one of the things that's really important to me about the whole book really is having that expansive wisdom across the decades. And so it was really brilliant that you wanted to take part. But why did you want to take part? Why on earth did you want to take part and do this project?
There's kind of two reasons. So I think the first one is your care experience, Lisa. So I was like, oh my God, this is such a great opportunity, I guess, to share like a part of my soul is what I've been saying to people. Like it's a little bit of me that I haven't, I guess, shared. And I'm really keen to only really share that part of me within care experience spaces, like 100% now. From bad experiences myself growing up, just kind of being quite open. I think it was that, but also to heal, to be honest. I found it so healing to sit and go, I'm going to write something about my care experience. And I didn't plan at all what I wanted to write about. I just kind of sat there and went, cool, whatever comes out is going to come out, which it did. So yeah, I think it's two reasons. One, it's a perfect example of how to platform care experience stories by a care experience person. But I think the more important is that it's kind of helped me heal a little bit from my own trauma, and process it in all honesty. Like there was stuff, obviously, when people read the chapter, which is exciting, will realize that it is quite a difficult read, I think. And it was a difficult write, but it's helped me start to process things that I hadn't ever really processed. And that obviously came from me just sitting there going, cool, let's just do whatever Isabelle wants to talk about will happen. And it did, yeah.
And I love that because I had the same experience when I first wrote my chapters all those years ago. Was just allowing my writing to sort of flow and to take me on that journey rather than me take it on a journey. And I'm not sure that people really understand the power of writing for healing, and also how you can hold that space for yourself and how you can feel safe in then sharing that if it feels right, because you could have done that writing and just felt, actually, I don't want to share that part of myself, but I've really enjoyed writing about it.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Like I enjoyed the process of it. And I was like, yeah, other people can read this part of me. I guess I was kind of like open to share. I think that's also why I wanted to do it, because it was like it was my decision to say, yeah, cool, let's do this. And yeah, if I had written it and gone, yeah, that's too much for people to read, I would have told you, Lisa. I would have gone, yeah, I'm gonna just give me a little bit longer to kind of tweak it and kind of rewrite things. But I didn't. I just kind of, and I didn't do much like drafting myself of it either. I just kind of let it happen, and then I was like, cool, yeah, that's it. Um, but yeah, there's definitely not enough. There's not much spoken about the healing power of writing. And I love writing. I do a lot of writing that will never ever be shared with anybody because it's awful for many reasons. Not that it's awful to read, but it's like it's not something people need to read. Um, I like it. I've always liked writing. Never been quite good at it, really. But I enjoy
I
it.
think you'll find people might disagree
Yeah.
with that when they've read your chapter. I think
Yeah,
they'll love
maybe.
your chapter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I get like, especially the way that I've written the chapter. Um, I didn't I tried that, especially the opening bit, and you might not have noticed this. I tried to write it like 9-year-old Isabel, I think. So it was like, this is 9-year-old Isabel talking right now, and then it cuts to 24-year-old Isabel, like the adult. It's like the child and the adult. I think that's probably why I found it really healing, because it was like my inner child, I guess.
Mm.
And I know lots of people talk about your inner child, but I think my writing is my inner child space to just go, cool, here you are. This is what we would have felt. Yeah, it was very therapeutic to sit.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
And we're holding all of that stuff all the time, aren't we? Whether we're conscious of it or not. So the thing about writing is it brings it to the fore, and you kind of are sat next to that child and almost doing it with them. And there's something really, really beautiful about that in terms of the healing therapeutic nature. But there's something else that you said that I think is interesting, which is how that it was important for you that you did that with somebody who also had a care experience. And I say that because we all have, I've never come across the same experiences between people, but there's something quite connecting about that experience. But I wondered if you could unpick that a little bit.
I think it's a shared trauma. I think that's what it is. And I don't mean in the sense that we all have the same trauma, because we all have completely wildly different experiences of care, but it's like a same trauma of leaving your birth home or your biological home and then entering a system which often sadly causes more trauma. And I think there's a mutual understanding with each other that we have all experienced that. I think that's what it is. It's like we all have the same parents. I think that's what it is. We all have the same corporate parents. We're all children of the system. And I think that's what I find helps. Like I don't need to explain to you, Lisa, what all of the terminology of the care system is. I don't need to explain to you about it at all. I just know that you get it. And it's really difficult to explain. I think that's what I find to go, it's like it's like maybe shared trauma is not the right term, a shared connection. I don't want to say we're a shared family, because family is a difficult word, but it's like we have shared parents, a shared corporate parents. I've only just kind of started saying that as well, to be honest, corporate parents. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it really does. And I was just thinking about those, that whole not having to explain yourself, that is really difficult. And there are things that are really difficult to explain. I think one of the things that I've always found really difficult to get across to people is around the relational poverty that can come, that generally does, but not always, come with the care experience. And that's really difficult to explain to people who have relational wealth, because they just have those relationships, and in order to think about not having them, it's really painful. So people don't think about what it would be like to not have those relationships. So I think there is definitely something about not having to explain certain things, which is really valuable.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like how, like with your siblings, for example, and this is difficult obviously because we're care experienced, so it's probably a different environment. But for non-care experienced people, you have your like if they have siblings, they have grown up the same way, but obviously they've had very, very different experiences of growing in the same home. And I think that can go across into the care experience community, is that we have all had very different experiences, but we've still grown up in the same system. So we still just get it with each other. And I have like friends who will moan with their siblings about their parents together. Even though they've had different experiences as siblings in the same household, they still can have that shared run, I guess. And I think that's what it is with other care experienced people, like, and that doesn't have an age. Like I could gladly talk to a 70-year-old about how awful or how good, arguably, the system is. But then I could also probably do that with a 12-year-old of how good and how awful the system is, because I just know it. I don't know what it is. It's just like I know you get it. Like I know you get what it's like to be in that system. And I think even if your experiences are wildly different, a lot of the stigmas and stereotypes that go along with being care experience are the same, no matter what type of care experience or experience you've had. I think that they're the exact same. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Listen, Isabelle, everyone's going to be so excited to read your chapter. So
read it.
Can't wait. And so the book's out in May 2022. All the links will be in the comments. And listen, thank you so much, Isabelle. Lots of love. See you soon.
Thank you.